Loading. Developed by crows. That's a lot of crows. English. No. Till the computer is barely visible. Yeah. Please enter the... Why do I have to do this? Sure. Can't you just get it from the system? Loop. Loading. Whoops. I see. Under... Let's just turn down... Let's turn down... Not like that. Something like that. And then... So that the... the voice is the loudest, because that's probably the most important. There's some things in here. Begin. Loading. Loading.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Okay.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427.
Okay.
Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard.
That's nice.
Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year.
That sounds like fun.
Others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Good for him.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget.
What's that?
He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow.
Oh no.
No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi.
What?
Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation.
Crazy.
Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
I see. What's that say? I hate Mondays. Okay. I see. There's nobody around.
Were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Hold on. Yes. That's a little better. Intriguing. Why are there papers on the ground? Let's see. Okay.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I see. I guess I should do that. Are we counting down the numbers? I forgot what I was already.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Termination Tuesdays. I like that day. This box is too small. Okay. Anything else of importance in here? Anything in general of importance in here? What's moving over there? Get Chris out of the broom closet. Why is he in there? Oh. Hey. That's cool. Intriguing. Comatose. That's a good dream to have. I'm good at one of those. Intriguing. Ah. That's cool. Me most of all. Thanks. I sure am. Okay. I don't understand. I don't think that's important. Hey. Okay. Stop that. Okay. That's a lot of percent. Space between the teenagers. Death sport portion. You see? Okay. I feel like all this information is kind of important. Okay. Well, I should probably leave this room. Ooh, that one guy's in there. I don't know how to get him out. I don't know. Ooh. When I press X, things happen. Oh. Oh, he's in...
Stanley stepped
not
into the
in here.
broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Nuts. Well, he got out of the broom closet.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Okay. Sure is bright out. To be rich, is it a crime? To commit crimes, isn't it rich? What a life it would be to have to pick just one. Uh. Oh. It's cool. It's weird how when I'm looking at the computer it doesn't make noise. I don't know. It doesn't do that with walls. How about the plant? Nope.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number.
What's that?
2845. But of
Oh,
course,
no way.
Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Oh, you're right.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs, trying to input anything on the... Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck.
That's good.
Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Oh, over here. Okay. Intriguing. Okay. I will go down, I guess. Well. Loading.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Okay.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Under escape. Ooh. Okay. Well, I want to read that. Hello.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
I see that.
What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Is this where they make the Baja Blast? Hey, they have the same mug as I do. What's the deal?
The monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Which one am I? I don't remember. Hello.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
I guess.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For
Why?
he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
I don't know, everything looks like it's off already. So, what am I doing? Ooh. That's a button up there. How do I get to that button up there? Ooh. If it wasn't so dark, I could see. Where's that ladder? I saw, or staircase, not. I saw it. I don't know. I gotta go over here first. That's not a button I can press. Ah. I see.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Okay.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty.
Oh no.
Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command.
Crazy.
Freedom was mere moments away.
Insane.
And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone?
Yeah.
How had he been freed from the machine's grasp?
I don't
What
know.
other mysteries did this strange building hold?
Unsure.
But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For
Yep.
it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had
No, I
not
want
been to
power.
understand, but to let go. No
No, I
longer
want
would
power.
anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his.
Okay.
That was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Did I? Okay.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Well, that's good for Stanley. But living in an office all your life is gonna make it tough to adapt to the world like that. You're gonna have to learn how to hunt and gather. I didn't see any... aside from that house over there, there wasn't any sign of civilization. It looks like you're off in just a random place in the world, in the outback, out in the wildlands. Where am I? Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Maybe. Okay. I don't see myself. Hey, can I open doors? I hate Mondays. This is really unfortunate.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Well, the left road usually leads nowhere.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Maybe. Here I am.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings.
It's
Really
beautiful.
worth it.
I can't believe drinks are that expensive, though.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy
Okay.
and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's
Alright.
possible that this is why everyone left.
You're just gonna judge me and make me feel
But at
terrible.
last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
First open door on his left. Well, I guess I'll go to that.
And so he
to
detoured through
there.
the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Fine. You're not gonna tell me where to go? I see. Well, I guess there's a reason that you don't have to. I don't think these doors open.
Yet there was
What?
not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
This is unfortunate. I'm going
Coming to a
downstairs.
staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Why is it red? I can't read that. I'm illiterate.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And
Yeah.
in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished?
What a
His
fool.
boss would think he was crazy.
I would
And
too.
then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy.
Maybe.
All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical
No.
sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For
Wait a
example,
second.
why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down?
No!
Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went?
Don't say
And for
that.
that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to
No.
himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion
Don't like
that had
that.
been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream.
Clearly.
Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job
Wait
pushing
a
buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Oh.
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so
Stop
much
that.
fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head.
Am I in a
One he was
coma?
amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking?
Hey.
Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought.
This isn't the
And
weirdest
while he
dream I've
thought it all
had.
very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life.
What?
Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up.
Okay.
He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been.
Okay.
My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Are you okay? Nuts.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Oh.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Huh?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work.
What?
But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk.
Oops.
And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't.
Okay.
It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better.
That's good.
Then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day.
Gonna be late.
Very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at
decide
the body.
The rest of her
And then
life.
she turned and ran.
And she's in control. Okay. I see. Loading. Okay.